Hey everybody, it's Kate. Hey everybody, it's Kate. In true winging it style, today I'm going to teach you how to make bone broth. This isn't really a recipe, more of a guide for you to create bone broth all on your own. Bone broth can be expensive to purchase, but not very expensive at all to make on your own. We're going to use a pressure cooker to do this. Now, what is bone broth? Bone broth is a rich broth made rich by releasing the bone marrow, cartilage, and collagen from the bone. And why does someone want to drink bone broth, you might ask? Well, that is an excellent question. Besides being very delicious, bone broth has a lot of health benefits. For instance, it's good for your hair, it's good for your skin, it's good for your nails, it's good for your joints, it's good for your digestive system, it's good for your immune system. I could go on, but truly bone broth has a lot of great things about it. The basis of the guide today for making bone broth has 4 things. We have to have water, acid, salt, and bones. And here in these 2 bags, I have saved up the bones of 2 roasted whole chickens, tons of onion parts that I chopped off and threw in this bag, celery that we were worried we weren't going to finish before it went bad, some parsley that I bought for another recipe. I could only use a little bit for the recipe, and so I just threw the rest in my freezer bag because I knew I wouldn't use it before it went bad. Garlic peels are in here, rosemary, thyme. I've saved a lot of herbs because I like an herbaceous broth. Whatever flavors you like, go for it. I would say steer clear of cruciferous vegetables. And mushrooms are a great thing to add to broths. They add a really nice umami flavor. To get started, I'm going to open my pressure cooker here. And first we're going to do just the bones with the water, salt, and acid. And I'm going to leave the veggies behind because I don't want to cook the heck out of them. I want them to cook less than the bones. Remember, we're trying to remove cartilage and bone marrow and collagen from the bones, so that's going to take a little while. So as you can see, this looks like a bag of kitchen trash, and that's why making your own bone broth is inexpensive, because it is basically kitchen trash. Now we will add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Whoop! A little more than 2 tablespoons, no problem. Water. And that was 6 cups of water, a tablespoon of salt, 3 teaspoons equals a tablespoon, and some more water. So my plan is to just barely cover the bones here with water. So that was 12 cups of water for me. Depending on how many bones you put in there, it'll be different from you, but it'll be different for you. But like I said, 2 roasted whole chickens is what I've used here. I've got my pressure cooker set on the poultry setting for 1 hour and 40 minutes. Let's go. Okay, I'm getting excited. It's almost time to add the vegetables. Eee! Any minute now. I've released the pressure from the pressure cooker, and our bones have been cooking for 1 hour and 40 minutes. They look nice and tender in there. It smells really good. And now it's time to add the flavoring ingredients to our bone broth. In this bag, I have been collecting for months parts of carrots, the shavings and the butts, celery, onion, herbs like rosemary, sage, thyme, parsley, and that's all just gonna go in our pot here. Hopefully it all fits. Thyme is my most important ingredient for my bone broth, so I'm putting a lot in there. Here we go. Push it down in, make sure it's all covered. Cool. And I have a couple other things to add. About a teaspoon of peppercorns, black peppercorns, 1 bay leaf, and maybe just a little bit more salt. And I did have some salt on my roasted chickens. We put a tablespoon of salt in at the beginning, and I just added a teaspoon more. I think that'll be good, and then we can salt it to taste when it's done. All right, we're gonna go for 1 more hour now that we have our vegetables and herbs and spices in. I wanted to tell you that if you're not a pressure cooker owner and would rather do this with a crock pot, you can definitely do this. It takes about 6 to 8 hours for the bones to release the marrow and collagen and all the good stuff. So yeah, keep that in mind if you want to use a crock pot. Okay, it's been a total of 2 hours and 40 minutes. We are ready to open the pressure cooker. Oh boy, does that look good. So now it's time to strain the bone broth. All right, and I should tell you that when this bone broth cools, it is likely going to be somewhat gelatinous, and I don't want that to scare you. That's actually a good thing. That means that we got the gelatin out of the bones. So tomorrow when this is cold and you pull it out of the fridge and it has a wiggle to it, don't be surprised. It also will likely have a layer of fat on the top that's really thin. It'll be a slightly different color than the rest of the broth. It will melt right back in with the liquid when you reheat the broth, so you don't have to worry about that. Or you could scrape it off if you wanted to and discard that, but it's totally fine to just mix back in the broth. All right, let's taste it. So for the past couple of weeks, I've been having bone broth in the morning as my hot morning beverage in place of coffee or tea, and it has been delightful. This turned out great. I can taste the roasted chicken bone flavor. I can taste lots of thyme and rosemary and the peppercorns we threw in. It's just a really nice balanced flavor. Now at this point when you're tasting your broth, you could add more vinegar if you wanted. You could add more salt or pepper, any kind of flavor if you needed it. But I think we have a good thing going here, so I'm gonna leave this alone. All right, everybody, it has been so much fun making bone broth with you today. I hope you learned a lot and had a great time. And it's confirmed, we're going on vacation next week, so get ready for Winging It on Orcas Island with Kat!